Morning, Trainiacs. It's a lovely minus 13 degrees out there. Lovely is actually true. If you are looking at doing your first race, but you're like, OMG, triathlon is too expensive for me, today I'm going to tell you about how you can save a ton of money on your first triathlon. Probably do it for $100 or $200. Okay, so something that I don't talk about a ton, but is probably worth mentioning, is that you all see me getting a new fat bike, a new Ventum bike on the way, new wetsuits, racing in Texas and Mexico, and saying like, oh my goodness, how does he spend all this money on triathlon? Well, a few things. Number one, I'm fortunate enough to have done this YouTube channel for a few years, and a lot of those things are done as like trades, or some of them are free, or some of them are at like a pro discount. So I'm very lucky in that regard. But number two, it didn't always start out that way for me. My first couple of years of doing triathlon, I was actually starting my investment practice when I was formerly investment advisor Taren, and there was one of those first 2 years that my income was $8,000 for the year. But I still managed to do a ton of triathlons. I want to say that I raced probably 4 or 5 times that year, and I'm going to give you the tips that I figured out how to be able to do triathlons on a massive, tight budget. So number one, let's talk about the wetsuit. There are a few ways that you can get around having to spend $400, $500, $600 on a wetsuit. You can do your race in a pool. Pool swims are just going to require a set of jammers or a Speedo. I recommend a Speedo. You can also choose a race that's done in hot weather if you're in a hot weather climate and the open water is hopefully a lot warmer, and a non-wetsuit swim. Or you can rent a wetsuit if you've got access to that and they're cheap enough. Or you can buy an inexpensive, I would say $200 Xterra wetsuit on Amazon. And if you end up racing in that once, you can probably resell it for probably about $120 or $130, costing about the same amount as a rented wetsuit, plus it has the added benefit of no pee. Now, as far as saving money on the race itself, local, 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 local. The more local you can get and the more grassroots you can get, the less expensive the races are going to be. In addition to that, if you buy a race series with the same company that is holding a number of races, odds are really good that you'll get a discount, and you could go into 3-4 races for the same cost as doing one race. I also recommend that if you're going to do quite a few races, that you buy your race license just one time. If you buy it individually throughout, it's going to add up because you're going to have to buy a bunch of one-day licenses, and it's probably going to cost more than just buying the entire annual series license. And finally, just like booking plane tickets, you can save money on your race entries by going really early with early bird pricing. Or if you're feeling risky and you're not sure if you're actually going to enter the race, you can go and try to buy a bib at the last minute from somebody who's desperate and might sell it for next to nothing. That happens a lot in really big marathons and half marathons, not a lot in triathlon, and whether or not you can actually do it is dependent on whether the race allows big transfers, so I wouldn't really count on that one. Next, I've said this before, with a bike, any bike at all. Do not think that you've got to buy yourself a road bike, a triathlon bike, any bike. For your first race, stick to a sprint or even a triathlon, and you can go on any bike that you have. Laura Siddle, pro triathlete, she did her first endurance ride for charity. That was the ride that ended up getting her into triathlon on a hybrid bike that she thinks she bought from Walmart. Onto the race kit. Don't feel like you have to get any race kit at all. Just use whatever shorts and whatever workout shirt that you've got. But if you do want to get a race kit, a little trick that you can use is go to some of the local clubs around you and see if they have any of their team race kits from previous seasons. And because they're from previous seasons, they're probably not going to really be selling them at all. They might just be away in storage, and you can get them for fairly cheap. And then finally, one of the biggest costs that adds up over the course of time making this an expensive sport is the nutrition. When you start getting into really custom nutrition, gels, bars, chews, an electrolyte drink that you really like, it starts to add up because you're consuming it almost every day. But as you're just getting into the sport, you stick to bananas, you go to Costco and get yourself a giant powdered tub of Gatorade. Don't mix it full strength because that stuff's like syrup. Water it down a little bit. It might cost you a grand total of like 50 cents a workout to end up going and having decent nutrition and electrolyte fluid. So between all of those, you might be into each race for like $50 to $100 at most. It's not like you've got to go and spend the $4, $5, $10, $20,000 that a lot of triathletes spend over the course of the average season. Dip your toe in the water and use these tips to save some money in that first season before you go and decide that you're going to plunk down a bunch of money. There you go, triathletes. I hope that this helped. If you aren't yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button below. And if you are already subscribed, smash the like button. Just smash it away, smash. I feel like those YouTubers are like, smash that like button, what?